I'm still blown away by it. I really am completely and utterly surprised. And if you're a Miami Marlins fan, you got to be elated because we're talking here the day after the draft, day one of the draft in the first round. The Miami Marlins got one of the, if not the biggest steal of the first round by taking Jacob Lombard with the 14th overall pick. The shortstop from Gulliver Prep right down there in Miami stays home. And this is just an absolutely fantastic pick for the Marlins. And it's stunning to me, and why I'm so amazed is the fact that Jacob Lombard was projected to go as, if you believe the mock drafts, as high as 4 to the San Francisco Giants, and really no lower than 10. He was not supposed to be a non-top 10 first-round pick. And the fact that he fell to the Marlins, and to the Marlins' credit, they didn't do what 13 other teams didn't do. They took him. And this is a steal, and I'm going to tell you why. Not only because, obviously, Man on Second focuses on South Florida players, but, that aside, even though that is a factor that weighs in the Marlins' favor to take someone local, his upside is just ridiculous. He might be the most talented player in the draft, position player. And I'm not going to say he's the flat-out biggest steal, because amazingly, with the 16th pick, Gio Rojas from Stoneman Douglas went to the Texas Rangers. And then I put a lot of weight with the 18th pick, the Reds did, taking Justin LeBron from Alabama and Archbishop McCarthy. But for this podcast, I'm going to just focus on Jacob Lombard. Here's a kid who I first saw 4 years ago as a freshman when he was playing with his brother, George Jr., who was drafted a couple of years ago by the Yankees and is the Yankees' top pick and one of the top overall prospects in baseball. And back then, Jacob was a freshman playing second base because his brother was playing shortstop. And scouts I was talking with at the game were already liking Jacob better than George back then. So why did this happen? How do the Marlins get a guy who should be, by all measures, based on ability, a top 5 pick? He goes 14th. And just my theories are, if you look at where baseball's headed right now, where baseball wants to be, the owners in their latest proposal to the Players Association as part of the collective bargaining agreement want to reduce the draft from 20 rounds to 12, and they want to eliminate high school players from being draft eligible and not have them drafted until they're like age 20 on September 1st. So we're talking about MLB's trying to push their amateur players into the college and kind of create a little bit like the college football or even the NBA, where college basketball is kind of their feeder system, let's be honest. So, and I saw a lot of teams kind of going that way. A lot of college players taken high. A lot of outfielders. And then secondly, the advanced metrics, the more metrics are getting in and projection models are getting in because everyone has data on these players. Even high school players have data because they play in perfect game and showcase events. And some high schools have TrackMan as well, that they're doing safe picks. And so why would Jacob Lombard fall through the cracks? Well, let's take it back to his junior year at Gulliver. He played soccer. He was a tremendous soccer player as well, and would go to state playoffs in soccer. He got a little banged up playing soccer in his junior year, and his junior season, I think he only hit at Gulliver Prep, he only hit like 306, played about, let's see, I got his stats here. Played in like 14 games, hit 306 as a junior, and that Gulliver Prep team really struggled. They won, I think their record was like 6-21. So right then and there was a little bit of a red flag because of injury and lack of production when he was playing. But he goes and does the summer circuit playing showcase ball and immediately raises his stock because he's just super talented and the talent will jump at you. But what happens when you only play in like 14 high school games and you get about 50 at-bats on a team that wasn't very good? You're being pitched around, you're not seeing a lot, you're probably pressing a bit, and so you're going to be behind. So you make up some bats in the summertime. Well, senior year, he erases all doubts, 29 games. Lombard hits .477 with, let me get here. He had 4 doubles, 10 home runs. So the power's there, but you don't just look at stats, obviously, for any of these guys. You look at projectability, size, everything. And just whenever I would see Lombard play, you could just see the ease of his play, his movements. He's like 6'3" or so he's already got size. He can hit for power, and he's very fluid. The game comes super easy to him. Can play anywhere, probably on the diamond in the infield, and you probably could throw him in the outfield if need be. But I believe he can stick it short, and at least for the time being, the Marlins get a guy plays a premium position. And quite frankly, people, I think Jacob Lombard can be a core player on a winning team. So he could be one of your building blocks, playing a premier position, and that player falls to 14. While there was a run on outfielders, which again, what's the outfield metrics they're looking for in outfield metrics? More power, specific. Because to be a everyday productive plus type of player, you got to have some sort of power. Lombard's got the power in there. He's got hit ability in there. Now the knock. This is where he falls behind. The swing and miss that they say about what he had. So let's look. Obviously, it's high school ball, but where's his numbers here? I'm looking for his walks compared to his strikeouts. I may not have set that down. I apologize for that. But from what I saw, it wasn't a ton. It was he walked a lot. It wasn't like that bad. But again, high-end pitching. Now, on the flip side, Gulliver Prep, a 3A team, lost in the regional championship game to Miami Springs. Had they won, that's a best of 3. They lost in the 3rd game to them. So Miami Springs went on to state and played South Walton. It would have been really interesting had Gulliver Prep won that game and played South Walton in the semifinals, because Coleman Borthwick, who I had real good videos of, big kid, they call him Big Country, was throwing 93 to 99 in the semifinals. A dominant pitcher. Lombard facing him would have been a real measure. And just how good is Borthwick, he went 21st, I believe, overall. He went to the Padres. I think they were the 21st pick in the first round. Auburn commit, but obviously first rounder, he's going to go play college. He's going to go pro. But it would have been nice to see Lombard in that setting. But the swing and miss, folks, he's playing soccer. He's not being a full-time player. He's super athletic. This is where the analytics, we're always looking for the safer bet. So with your first round pick, this is where the big change in the sport has come. It used to be with your first round pick, like when I was covering the Marlins and Giancarlo Stanton was on the board. Now, he was a second round pick in 2007, which was maybe the Marlins' greatest position player draft pick ever. But Stanton was a 3-sport star: football, basketball, and baseball. USC, Pete Carroll recruited him to go to Southern Cal. And being from Southern Cal, it would have been very tempting. But the Marlins got him in the second round. Rest is history. All-time home run leader and arguably position player-wise the best player the Marlins have ever had. And, borderline Hall of Famer. But Stanton had swing and miss. But what did he also have? He could hit the ball 500 feet. So you're looking for the high tools guy. You're looking for the highest impact. Lombard just gives the Marlins that instantly a super high impactful potential player with the 14th pick. So right then and there, I'm kind of laying it out where, Lombard, by all measures, you would have thought 13 teams before the Marlins would have seen the same thing. But also now with the draft, you're hearing more now where they're wanting to get players closer to the big leagues. So if you take a guy with the 10th pick, an outfielder, let's say, and he has one good year in Double-A, he could be playing in the big leagues next year or the year after, potentially. So they immediately want the return on investment. That player's already 21, 22 maybe, while Lombard is probably just turned 19. is still a couple more years away from being ready. But I thought Mark DeRosa, as part of the telecast, really kind of was driving the point home early on, thinking, that Lombard was the highest ceiling guy. And he noted, if you're confident in your player development, you bring a kid like Lombard in and you work with him. You refine his swing. You eliminate chase. And when you're that athletic, you can eliminate chase. Now, swing and miss in the zone, if you get blown away by velocity, that's one thing. But by all measures, a lot of guys are striking out anyway, and this guy is going to be impactful. He can run. He can defend. He can hit for power potential, and he has hitability as well. And he has feel for the game, the knowledge, all the intangibles that come with, being part of a baseball family, with his father on the coaching staff with the Tigers, his brother with the Yankees. This kid's super athletic, the soccer. Now the soccer goes away. Full-time baseball player. So if you believe in your development, you do that. That used to be how the draft was, but now with the kind of the urgency to get guys to the big leagues, you're going to see more Lombard situations. And to the Marlins' credit, they saw an opening to get a real premier guy. Now let's look at the finances of it. And this is where, for Lombard, it sucks, but for the Marlins, it's great. The slot value, let's do the comp. The Giants with the 4th pick, the max slot value for the 4th overall pick was $8,988,400. So let's round it up. $9 million. Just shy of $9 million he gets if he would have gotten picked by the Giants 4, and they gave him full slot. Almost $9 million. $8.9 million. With the Marlins, the max value slot at 14, $5,444,900. What is that? Almost over a $3 million savings. Almost a $3.5 million savings. Like if the Marlins picked 4th, they kind of got a little bad luck with the lottery the last couple of years. They were picking 14th because of the lottery. They got, let's say they were picking 4th, they could have been looking at signing this player, taking him there, and signing him. Even if you sign him for $8 million, would be almost a $3 million savings by getting him 14th. I'm sure to look good, they're going to give him the full slot. I can't imagine him not signing for full slot. And that's a complete bargain. So this is an absolute home run pick for the Marlins. Lombard gets a little screwed on it because he gets caught, the perception of swing and miss cost him roughly $3 million. He obviously can make that up if he becomes the type of player that I think he can be, clearly what the Marlins think. And when the Marlins brass, when they got the cameras in front of them, you could see the elation in their war room, and then you could hear the interviews with their front office people. We were completely surprised he would be on the board, and for good reason, because he shouldn't have been. He flat out should not have been on the board. But here, the Marlins get a guy they've been looking for. What if it becomes Bobby Witt? He's a Bobby Witt Jr. type of player. Man, that's a super bargain. So, again, I'm not saying he's going to be an MVP caliber guy, but I certainly think Jacob Lombard has all the makings of being a solid, everyday, big league ball player, and in the right environment could be, an all-star caliber guy. And again, floored that he would be there. It's still a head scratcher, but tip of the hat to the Marlins for getting their guy, and good for the market to have a local guy here. Should be a fan attraction, which obviously the Marlins always could be looking for. So again, a home run of a pick. I'm going to do something similar like this with Gio and Jacob and Justin LeBron, and maybe a few others as we kind of unpack the rest of the draft. So that's all I got for today. If you agree, disagree, mention in the comments. But again, I think this is a home run pick. Great job, Marlins. Great job, Jacob Lombard. Now go prove everyone that doubted you wrong. You're going to be super motivated. Should be a lot of fun. With that, catch everybody in the next video.